people listening to the audio version, Kevin's going to try that again.
Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your hosts of the Bro Show, Nick Lane and Kevin Manny of Buffalo Pinball.
What's up, pinball players? Happy Thursday, June 28th. Nick Lane, Kevin Manny.
What's up?
I assume that everybody did an awesome intro because we can't hear him do the intros anymore on our end. So
Yeah, so it's good.
I'll have to go and listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah, it gives you a little something to look forward to in the morning.
Yeah. Who doesn't like the sound of their own voice too? You know.
That's right.
By the way.
So what's going on? This is the podcast that really didn't want to happen.
Well,
I almost was like, let's just skip this one and do the next one.
we're sort of on track because we do
We
it the
are.
last week of the month, and we usually do it Monday, but we were gonna do it last week. And we made a whole snarky video mocking somebody who was giving us shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
And of course, I think we jinxed it.
Yeah, we
That's
did.
fair.
We
Kevin
did.
got sick last Thursday or Tuesday, and you never get sick.
Yep, I had a fever. It was a good time.
This week I was sick. I was sick a couple days, and then today I had a migraine, which I'm still feeling like garbage from. So, but look, we plowed through it. You know, we're here, and we're gonna make this podcast happen.
Buffalo
somehow,
Pinball,
some
when
way.
you're here, you're here.
Yeah. All right. Let's just charge through, Kevin.
All right, so let's. Forewarning: I'm using new software to produce this tonight, so if something blows up, that's why. But
Yeah.
I think I got it down. So, all right, let's get into thanking our partners.
All right, this is where I shine. Here we go. Comet Pinball. Comet makes LEDs for your pinball machine. We use them in all of ours. Double Danger makes pinball swag, mainly shirts, and they've got a bunch of Buffalo Pinball shirts. They've got some new ones, right, coming up?
Oh yeah, they're going into. They just ordered the shirts today, so they'll be going into production soon.
There's two of them, right, that they're going to be making that you can get. That
Yep.
Buffalo Pinball, two new ones. One we talk. This is a perfect opportunity. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so the first one is for the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open.
Yep.
We did like a sort of, not really a pre-order, it was like a expression of interest and try to get the right sizes, because that's always the challenge with ordering shirts. You don't want to order a bunch of sizes that nobody wants. So they're going to be up on the Double Danger website to order, and whatever's left over we're going to have at the event itself. So, and the other is our much loved only here for the TGP shirts.
Yeah, so I love that shirt. Kevin and I came up with that last year, and we made one-offs because we kind of mock sometimes Magic Pinball points, because people can get obsessed with how many TGP points is this tournament worth, and if your head's already like you're losing interest
What
and
is
fading
that?
away, this shirt might be for you.
Yes.
It's for you whether you take it seriously or not. That's the beauty of it.
It can be ironic or serious.
Or
Yeah.
serious. That's
Yep.
right. So it says only here for the TGP. Wear it proudly to your next pinball tournament or whatever, or to your next picnic with your family. It just doesn't matter. It's gonna just raise some eyebrows.
It'd be like, I don't know what TGP is, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's is he doing the baseball style T-shirt?
Yeah, I think so.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's gonna look awesome.
They're designed like 70s cheesy colors and font and stuff.
Awesome. So listen, we've got a lot of people asking for that for the last year. It is finally available. TGP Osric is tournament grading percentage.
Yeah, and that's perfect because
Exactly.
Oz is an amazing player, and he plays in a lot of tournaments, and even he doesn't know what TGP is.
Yeah, so that's going to be up on the Double Danger website soon, so check that out.
So to answer RLM's question, both sets of shirts are not black. Because that's some of the feedback we got was, are you going to do any shirts that aren't black? And we're already planning on doing the Summer Open shirts.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be off, but there we go.
Farside Studios has just rated us, so
Thanks for the raid,
welcome,
Farsight.
folks. We'll get to that. So anyways, we're really excited for that shirt. So that brings us up to 4 shirts on Double Danger, with the other 2 Play Angry and the traditional Buffalo Pinball shirt. Anyways, enough of that. Let's move on. Pinball Life. PinballLife.com makes pinball parts. Your game breaks. You need parts. Head on over to Pinball Life. Jersey Jack, Hobbit, Wizard of Oz, dialed in. And can't wait for the Pirates of the Caribbean machine.
Oh, baby.
Titan Pinball makes silicone rings to replace rubber rings. And you know what? I love the... oh, man, I have your pinball mat, too, Kevin. I forgot to bring it. So
Ooh.
it came in, though.
Nice.
They have a pinball mat And when it first came out and I saw it, it was like this $80 mat. I'm like, $8 for mat. And then I got one, and it's like the best thing ever because I have hardwood floors where I play, and like my basement's like kind of a carpet, but not. So playing on that pinball mat is the softest thing ever. Everybody loves it. Highly recommend that. What else we got? I gotta see the partners. Community Beer Works. Community Beer Works is a nano brewery in Buffalo, New York. They're going to be opening up a new location. Delicious beer. Check it out when you come in for the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open. They're also sponsoring the Thursday tournament that we're having, the pre-Buffalo Pinball Summer Open tournament. So
nice.
Pin Stadium. Why don't you do Pin Stadium, Kevin?
All right, Pin Stadium Lights, makers of these amazing lighting kits for your pinball machines. We're going to be giving one away after the news and updates. Or we're going to tell you how to win. We're not giving them away tonight, but you'll have some time to enter. But use coupon code Buffalo to save 10% on your order.
Yeah.
And they also occasionally, if you watch us live on Twitch, you can get a $25 gift card. So
and Pinball Arcade. Speaking of which, thanks for hosting. Thanks for the raid tonight. Pinball Arcade makes virtual recreations of real pinball machines. Just fantastic stuff. It's helped so many people get into pinball, including myself. Please check them out. And finally, Tilt Cycle. TiltCycle.com makes upcycled pinball and arcade art. That's Dan Burfield out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Perfect time to get it is if you're going to ReplayFX/Pinburg. Dan is going to be there. You can put an order in. You can pick it up from him. You can save on shipping. And also, a lot of these partners, if you notice on the splash screen, or if you're just listening to it on the podcast right now, they have discount codes. Just type in Buffalo, and you're probably going to get some discount. Very few of them don't have that.
Yep.
And the reason they don't have that is because they're already selling it super cheap. So
Exactly.
There you go.
all right.
All right, let's move along.
I think I've successfully muted the alerts. So if you're listening along at home in your car and you're like, "What's up, Pinball Players?" is blasting in my ear, you should not hear that anymore. So there you go.
Sorry.
That goes to my the intricacies of streaming on new software. So all right, let's get into news and updates. Starting off, so I did it a little differently this time. We broke it down by manufacturer. So because that's just kind of how it ended up falling together when I was putting it together. So I was like, let's try this. So before that, though, let's give a shout out to This Week in Pinball because they do a great job of bringing all the news together. So when the month is over, I can look back and see what the hell happened over the past month. So shout out to Jeff at This Week in Pinball. Thanks, dude. So let's start off with Stern. So Stern announced over this past month Star Trek Vault Edition, and I had already forgotten about that.
I forgot about it too.
Yeah, what was your take when that got announced?
Was anybody clamoring for that game necessarily? I mean, it's a good game. I think the game that people want is Tron.
Yeah.
When you think Vault Edition.
Or
right?
Lord of the Rings is the other one I hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That would probably should even be ahead of Tron in many ways. But sure, I guess they got to run things on the line. It's a good game. So I wouldn't mind having one for the business, but we're not going to run out and buy it. So
yeah, it seems like it's a good game, but not one people were kind of banging down the doors for.
No, I don't think they're going to sell a ton of them. But what the hell do I know?
It didn't look like there was any difference in like the art or anything like that either. It was just like straight up reproduction.
Yeah, that's fair to say from what I saw.
Yeah,
I forgot all about it. Thanks for bringing it up.
So there you go, Star Trek Vault. Get yours. Production in June, available in mid-July, so you can get it pretty soon. And they've been just cranking out the code updates. So you got
too much, if you ask me. As an operator,
it's because you're an operator now.
Well,
let's talk about that a little bit.
So Iron Maiden's been updated, Guardian's been updated, Batman's been updated, and it's like people are gonna say, "Oh my God, now you're complaining that there's too many updates." Well, it's a challenge when you're an operator and this company, first of all, they'll release a product that's not even at version 1.0, so that's kind of frustrating to anybody. But you're cranking out updates every 2 weeks, and that's great maybe for the homeowners, but as an operator, it's a bit much to run around and update games and do that, and we don't necessarily keep up with that much,
Well, and there's an expectation from the pinball players in the know. They want to play the new code, understandably enough.
I think once a month is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, you're once a month on location at least to check the machines anyways.
And collect coins and everything.
And that way the updates can be significant. And they've also released updates where they've had bugs in them, right?
Yeah. And
like
then
what was
they do
didn't Guardians have some significant bug that was like damaging the game or something?
I don't remember, but Guardians and Iron Maiden both went to 1.0 and then they went to 1.0.1 to fix.
They've introduced some significant bugs in these updates, and I think they needed more time to bake. So, and 2 weeks doesn't seem enough. So, yes, thank you for the updates, Stern. Keep them coming. Games are definitely getting released with more code than they have in the past years, even though they're still not at 1.0. But 2 weeks might be too much. See, it's either too hot or too cold. I know Goldilocks.
Yeah.
But it's true from an operator standpoint. It's a bit much.
Or just build in remote code updates as if we're in the 21st century.
That's never going to happen. Come on, Kevin. That's never going to happen.
I know,
Jersey Jack would do it if anybody first, but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
I think Multimorphic would probably do it too.
Gotcha.
All right. And just run through the code updates. Iron Maiden 1.0.1, Guardians 1.0.1. So good on them getting those games up to 1.0.
Oh my God, Batman's
But Batman,
almost at 1.0.
it's-
Can they do it in 2 years? Maybe.
It's a Lyman masterpiece, though. He's got, you can't rush perfection. You know what you can do, though? You can wait until the game's ready and then release it.
But he had Walking Dead at its like masterpiece level within a year.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and this game is more expensive, but we'll stop because I'm doing the Nick Lane's greatest hits right now. Mm-hmm. We'll move on.
Hold us to this. When Batman 66 gets to 1.0, we will play it and then we'll re-review it. We'll at least update our number on it. We don't have to do a full review.
Ben will have us out there.
I'm sure. Yeah,
have a rebuttal
I'm sure.
on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
All right.
Awesome. All right, Jersey Jack. So hopefully I can show you this. Here you go. Boom. It's a new topper for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
LEs are going to get this.
That's instead of the ship.
No, the CEs get the ship. The LEs, the ones.
Oh, we're getting one. We're getting a topper.
Yeah, it's like it's like the Lexon see-through
Okay.
skull and thing.
I don't care about toppers, but
It's okay.
It's nice.
All right, thanks. I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
That's
Boom.
good.
And then they also released flowcharts. So I liked it when they did this for The Hobbit. It showed how you can work through the game, and they did it for Pirates and for Dialed In. So here's the Pirates flowchart. And it's tough to see on the screen now because it's kind of small, but it really does a good job of just showing you here, start your chapter, do all the things in the chapter, get to the multi-ball, and then each chapter or each chapter has its own
awesome.
wizard mode. So
I like how
then
they
you
do
get
that.
and then you can see all the little sub goals down underneath.
Somebody's like, oh, that's confusing. Not really.
Yeah.
It's like if any pinball machine broke things out like that, it would look chaotic. But actually, you can really easily tell what to do up the top with the modes in the chapters. The kind of jumbled up text at the bottom is just probably like, oh, this spinner happens.
Right. It's the side stuff. The main stuff is at the top.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it makes sense. It's logical.
Yeah, exactly. And then they did it for Dialed In. And, Dialed In's been out there for a while, and it's not a real complex game to understand. And I think they may have put this out and then just updated it, but
That's old. I've seen that before.
but the new thing is the multi-ball on the Quantum Theater, the Quantum Theater multi-ball.
Do you know when that's coming out?
Hopefully soon.
That's awesome because right now I sort of ignore some of the hurry ups with the spider and I don't know. I mean, they're cool, but they're just not worth that much. But now that there's a goal to shoot that, way more interested.
Yeah, and the other thing they announced that they normally stream on Wednesdays. They didn't do it this week with it, but they're going to be streaming new Hobbit code next week.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I know folks are really excited about that,
cool.
and they've been wanting a code to really bring everything together and a big wizard mode at the end. So hopefully
Are they going to get that?
Hopefully,
That's nice.
We don't know
That's
for
what
sure.
that game needs.
Yeah,
There's no
it
doubt.
does.
But speaking of what I need an adult to come over because my opto on my theater must have come loose or something like that. So, yeah, I need to get that fixed.
Yeah. All right, spooky news. Scott Denisi is confirmed to be working on another game for Spooky Pinball.
Okay,
So
and rightfully so.
that is a wise decision.
Yeah, he could do a sequel to that game pretty much. But
Exactly.
He'll do something else.
I think he'll probably want to do something else.
No doubt.
He's going to put 76 ramps in the game, I think, just to make up for no ramps in this game. Pretty sure.
It's hilarious, Kevin.
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious.
He's not helping me out there. All right, and Alice Cooper hit production. They shipped out the first game today, I think.
Awesome.
Uh-huh.
I haven't played it. You haven't played it, right?
No.
We should be able to play it at Replay FX.
Replay. It's going to Replay. Pinball Stars bringing it there. And our buddy James is getting one, so we'll be able to play it at his house.
Of course
eventually.
he is.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
He just
James is the best, man.
I know. He just needs to move to Buffalo, and then we'll be all set.
That's true. James, come on, get on that.
He was trying to get me to move out to Rochester. I was like, the rest of us are out here, so you should probably just move out here.
Dude, that's where Buffalo Pinball and the stream and the Bro Show's located.
Yeah.
So
Bring it all out here. Fair enough. Yeah. All right, Circus Maximus. Pinball Undesirables. Shout out to our friends on Twitch. They did a stream from Southern Fried Gameroom Expo, and Skip Natty blew it up and got to the wizard mode.
Sweet.
destroyed it. They also played a game with Steve Ritchie, so that's cool. Check that out. It's on YouTube now if you want to see some gameplay of the remake of Kingpin from Circus Maximus. Also, they announced that the HD graphics are in the works, so folks have seen the game at shows and stuff, and it's got the bigger LCD screen on there, but it just shows the DMD animations right now, and it's like, well, why is the screen in there? Well, the plan is to fill that with HD graphics and also to do like a second set of code for it, so you can play the original, kind of like Bride of Pinball 2.0, where you can play the original or the updated code.
That's cool.
I think that's the plan for that too.
We'll see that at Replay FX too.
I don't know if that's coming to Replay.
I hope so.
Yeah,
it'd be a mistake not to bring that to Replay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
And there you go. So, and the last but certainly not least, our buddies at Deep Root Pinball, our buddies. No. But they hired Steve Bowden. He's our buddy.
Yes.
He's going to be a rule set designer and chief ambassador for Deep Root Pinball. If you haven't heard of Deep Root, I don't think we've talked about them too much, but they're kind of like scooping up everybody to come and work for them.
They're making a religious pinball themed game, and Kevin and I are super religious, so we can't wait.
Stop it. You can tell by all the Bad Religion posters on my wall that it fit right into my game room. But yeah, so they're going to do that. They're also going to do Alice Cooper, or not Alice Cooper, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. Which Papa Duke's been wanting to do that game forever, like since the 90s.
It's another, questionable business move to bring John Papa Duke on.
No doubt.
So what are you going to do? Oh, yeah, and they're also allegedly going to be charging $50,000 for a pinball machine. So
let's just go. This is gonna just so you know.
Yeah,
you pick your battles. We'll move on.
All right, next. All right, game room updates. So I've got a whole lot of crazy stuff going on in my game room right now.
I'm just gonna sit back in the chair. Go ahead, Kev.
So actually, if I roll this way, you can see that there's a big empty hole behind us now. If you're watching, and that's because Space Jam left. This is a sad day when Michael Jordan, the 15 Michael Jordans that were on that machine, left my game room. But it went to somebody I found on Pinside who had a want ad, and I said, Here's my Space Jam. Here's some pictures of it. Here's a bunch of video of us playing it on Twitch. Would you like it? And he said yes. And he came and got it. And it was my favorite kind of sale of a game because there was no messing around. It was just, let's go. You bring cash. I give you game. Done. No messing around. I loved it. So that was that. I've been, and also the game at the end down here, Revenge from Mars, that I've had on loan from a fellow league member here in Buffalo for approximately 2 years. He's finally coming to get it. So that's leaving. But in exchange, he's bringing loaners because he needs room and I have room. So I'm getting 2 new games, hopefully tomorrow. The other thing is Vector is also going to be leaving. Because that's going to the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open. So bye-bye Vector. It's going to Nick's crew.
Hopefully it goes on location for a while.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because classics, we've learned, classics don't do great on location, but they will do well for like a month or two. And then that's like, they'll make money and then like just no one plays them afterwards.
Yeah, because everybody wants to learn it. And then you learn it and then it's like, all right, I kind of done the thing.
It doesn't hook, it doesn't keep people. So with that said, it would be great to get that on location maybe for a month or two, something like that.
For sure. So watch out for that in the Buffalo area. And then I've also been upgrading Doctor Who because, we're bringing it to the front page of Twitch. Let's show you that. So on July 9th and 17th, we just changed the first date. The first date got shifted up a week. So we're doing the Monday on the 9th and the Tuesday on the 17th. At 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be on the front page of Twitch. So when you go to twitch.tv, you're going to see us right there hanging out, playing Doctor Who. This is part of their marathon that they're doing of the Doctor Who TV show. So they're showing like every episode of Doctor Who that's ever been aired. And there's like 500 years of episodes or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. And so they're going to be doing that. And as a part of that, they invited Twitch partners to, submit their pitch to be as a part of this. So I sent them a picture of our pinball machine and said, we play pinball and we have a Doctor Who pinball machine. We would like to be a part of this. And they said yes. So long and short of that is I added a color DMD to it. And I also added a headphone adapter so I can get direct audio out of it. So you can we're really going to let people hear the Daleks screaming. Because if there's one thing that people really like about Doctor Who, it's the audio, and I really want to bring that to people on the front page of Twitch.
All right.
That's jokes because everybody hates the audio on that game. And then I'm still looking for a big buck hunter. I found one on Pinside. It was like $800. It was great. It was in Pennsylvania. And I emailed the guy. I'm like, dude, I'm coming for it. And then I actually like saw how far away it was. It was like 5 hours each way. I'm like, I'm not driving that far. Yeah, because by the time you rent a car, rent a van and drive, and it's like, what's the problem? So I think that's it. Well, what's up in Nick's world in Game Room updates?
So Game Room updates, I've got no new pinball machines because I'm still waiting for Jersey Jack Pirates, and I don't have any plans to get or acquire any other games. I like where my collection's at, and also things have changed because the business is putting a lot of games on location. I've got Game On, which is 5 minutes from my house, so I'm able to go and play games there. Like I'm not compelled to get Iron Maiden because it's 5 minutes from my house, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Play it anytime.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of games that I like, I certainly have a little bit of influence in the group and can kind of, get it for the business, so I'm able to play it that way. So it's good for my pocketbook that way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of good where I'm at. Maybe I'll rotate some classics out here and there. We'll see. But right now it's focused on Pirates. So with that said, no Game Room updates. I've been doing some VR when the weather's nice because, of course, that's my thing. Right when we just announced, should we talk about Buffalo Pinball Summer Open?
It's just coming
later?
up. Let's
all right.
let's talk about your things first.
All right, Kevin wants me to tell. I told a story before the podcast started.
Speaking of VR and
you found this
the VR
entertaining,
experience, so I said you got to share this on the podcast.
So there's like this VR game called Standout VR, which is not that good. It's like a PUBG clone, but it's VR, so I played it, and I like battle royale stuff. And I was playing it the other day. And you can hear other people talking in it, which is cool. Like if they're close to you on the map, you can hear them. And as you get closer, they get louder. And I heard like this like British kid, and he's like, oh, he's like talking to his dad, who must have been like in the same room. It's like, oh, and they updated the graphics, Dad, and they did this and that. And then I get close. I was like, hey, and I get closer, and he goes, oh, are you there? Another person's there? I was like, yeah, I'm right here. He's like, oh, come on, don't shoot me. Let's team up. We can be friends. I was like, and I had a moment of weakness, Kevin. I was like. My heart melted. I was like, oh, this British kid has got that British voice. I can't say no. All right. I was like, all right. And he goes, just kidding, bitch. And he shot me. He put on his gun and shot me. And I swear to God, he couldn't be more than 10 years old. So, yeah, that's what I always say. You don't let your guard down around kids. They're monsters. And the one time I'm nice. That's it. I'm getting out of the nice game. I've said this time and time again. That's it. Lesson learned.
Good shot.
So what else do I have for updates? Oh, I'm going to be headed up to the Bluffs Pinball Championships, which is up in Toronto this Saturday, June 30th. It's actually in Scarborough. You can search Bluffs Pinball Championships on Facebook if you're interested in going in the Toronto area, want to drive up, anything like that. Should be good. Walt Morose up there does a great job of running that event. So I'm really excited for that. And the Toronto folks, they're great people who play in that pinball league. So tournaments, whatever. I think that's it for me. I think that's it for my updates. Oh, one more.
Okay.
I got more stories and updates.
Okay,
so
stories are good.
My parents came up to visit me a couple weeks ago because they live down in Binghamton. I'm in Buffalo. That's 3.5 hours away. They come up once a year. God bless them. And I took them around to like play pinball at the locations where you have pinball at. So my parents, they play pinball like when they visit me. And they have like a Matahari in their home. They're not like pinball people or by any stretch of the imagination, but they've played a variety of machines because of me, right? So my parents played Iron Maiden, and they're like, this is a fun game. This is great. And then we went and we played Star Wars. And then we played Guardians of the Galaxy, and my dad's like, I like this game. And then he played Star Wars. He played one game, and he was doing well. He had for him, he had like 150 200 million.
It's not bad.
Yeah, he's hitting the ramps. He turns to me and goes, this game sucks. Now, my dad's not like that to go. I don't think he's ever said a pinball machine sucks since I've been in pinball for 7 years. He plays that game once, and yeah, that's what he said. And it really kind of does. And this is the interesting thing. So we have that on location, and Kevin was out at the location on Friday, and we were there playing that game and other games there, and we were watching people play Star Wars. I said Star Wars the whole time, right? This is Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
And I always like, my new thing is I like watching non-pinball people play pinball because I try to understand where are the barriers of understanding what's going on, and when I can interject and help them, I will. But I noticed that they would plunge it because that the plunge is so stupid on that game.
It's
It
really
plunges, and the angle of it will come right back at you and drain. So I would watch people time and time again plunge, drain, and then the other ball that kicks out, which they're not really prepared for, will drain. And they're just like shrugging, and they're like, what the... Like, I swear to God, that game is creating people who hate pinball. And what's so bad about it is it draws it in because it's Star Wars. Like, that's the game that actually makes us the most money. Because and this is a place where it's like kind of non-pinball people are playing, just super casual. That theme is drawing people in, but I've watched time and time again just having a terrible experience on it. And it really upsets me. I don't understand why Steve Ritchie would have made that design where you plunge it, shoots out, hits that 3 bank stand up, and just comes right back at the player. It puts the ball not even just in danger, it just sets you up for failure.
Yeah. It's you get people hooked with the theme, and then they're just like, well, this sucks. I'm not playing this
bizarre.
again.
Yeah, and you hate it, and you were losing your mind on Friday. But those are my stories.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nick's stories. All right, let's give some Buffalo Pinball Summer Open updates. If you haven't heard of that, that's our Stern Pro Circuit event. It's going to be August 17th to 19th, 2018 at the beautiful Sandy Beach Yacht Club on Grand Island, New York. That's just north of Buffalo. You can check out more information at buffalopinball.com/summer open. But we got some updates to share. So
we've got, well, here's a good big update. Normally in the last 2 years with the tournament, we've had 10 games in the main bank and then 6 games in classics for both days. There's 2 days of classics. What we decided to do is bump it up to 12 games in the main bank and 8 games in the classics for both days. This is a great move because it's going to speed up the lines, right? Because there's more games to play, so more people can get on games at a time. And it's also going to increase the prize pool because more people will be playing games at the time and putting money in. Especially with classics, because with classics, you have from like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everyone's just playing that. So, it's like they cannot get on it enough. I'm really excited about that. Thanks to Buffalo Pinball and Arcade Company. They're the ones who are providing the machines for this event. So they're doing an excellent job. I can't wait for it, man. I'm really excited for this year. It's going to be better than it has been the past 2 years, and the past 2 years have been great. So
yeah, it's going to be a good time. We're also going to have some VR there. Speaking of VR,
yeah, of course, we're going to have VR there.
Nick's current obsession. We got to bring it into pinball.
So
right?
yeah. We want to have some. I mean, besides the fact that it's at a yacht club, and fingers crossed the weather's nice, but you'll be able to go outside and kind of breathe when you want to take a break from playing pinball. But another way to take a break from playing pinball is we're going to have VR set up there on Saturday, a VR station from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on that Saturday, and the VR is totally free. So just go up and play it and enjoy yourselves.
Yep, he's got a rig with just basically every VR game.
Yeah, he's got dozens of VR games. So like any game you want, you'll be able to play. Right now, the new hotness is Beat Saber. If you've not seen that game, go check it out. Look up YouTube Beat Saber. It's like a rhythm lightsaber game. Yeah, people are going nuts over it. It's like the best. I think it's the best selling VR game. And like, there's like a website that will show like what everybody's like concurrently playing at a time for VR. There's like always 1,000 people concurrently playing that. Wow. And these are mostly probably like at stations around the world, like public places. And then the second highest game might be like Skyrim at 200 people. So there's just that much of a gulf between like how awesome that game is, how much people like it. So that's going to be there.
So you can play that, and play pinball, and play VR Beat Saber.
We'll keep you entertained.
Good times. And we had a couple special guests over the past month. We had Mrs. Pin and Dr. Pin came and visited us from the Mrs. Pin Pinball podcast. So
yeah,
awesome hanging out with those guys.
They came out to Game On.
Yeah,
super nice people. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, they did a little road trip. They stopped at the Silver Ball Saloon and visited with Bruce and played some games out there. And then they came out to Buffalo. We met them at Game On. And then they went to Niagara Falls and did some family stuff. So that was a good time. And then our buddy Adam from Domino's, a.k.a.
Adam Gasick.
From the Yummy Cheese game.
Yeah. Pinball designer Adam Gasick was out.
He was.
He was there playing Star Wars, and he likes Star Wars, which
is
weird.
He owns one. He was trying to convince us it was good, but we weren't having it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Maybe if you have it in your house, it's probably like Ghostbusters. Like, get it set up right. Have a bunch of time to really kind of figure out what the hell's going on with that game, and then maybe it gets okay.
Maybe.
I'm giving
to each their own.
I'm feeling positive today. Positivity, you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So nice hanging out with you guys.
Someone's gotta be positive,
Thanks for
right?
swinging by. Exactly.
Thanks, Kev.
Yeah. Thanks. Talking about Bruce and the Silver Ball Saloon, we're both going to the 12 Hours of Stomp on July 7th.
It sounds like a good idea right now.
It does.
It sounds like a good idea right now, and then maybe by hour 10.
It sounds like a better idea than the 24 hours at the Sanctum. That's what I told myself.
Nothing better to do than spending 12 hours inside on the summertime in
A
Buffalo,
beautiful Saturday.
Buffalo,
Yeah,
Rochester.
yeah.
Western New York.
So,
But we're nerds, so.
Exactly. So there's still a few spots open for that. If you want to get into it, just search for 12 Hours of Stomp on Facebook. Be sure to stop and admire the beautiful flyer because somebody really awesome made that. So definitely check that out.
Awesome.
And coming our way, we're going to be hosting a tournament coming up soon too.
We are?
We are. This one.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be doing a pin golf tournament. So we haven't done. When was the last time we did pin golf?
Ooh, it was a long time.
You did. Well,
I did
count.
I threw myself a birthday party and we did pin golf, but
God, I can't remember the last time. That was the first tournament ever in Buffalo, IFPA tournament, was when I ran it out of my house in 2013. I think we did it since then.
yeah, we have. We did.
Bruce was doing them.
Was it the Barry Ausler fundraiser? I think that was
Possibly.
Bruce did that, and we did one. It was the with Flipping with the Greats. I think we did a pin golf.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, so we're doing pin golf. That's going to be at Game on Land. That is Saturday, July 21st. So check that out. There's no need to pre-register or anything like that. You can find more information at buffalopinball.com.
When it's up, it'll be up soon.
Yeah.
You get a little sneak preview of it here. So, all right, are you guys ready for the very first giveaway we've ever done on the podcast?
Yeah.
I'm ready. So thanks to our friend Scott from Pin Stadium Lights, he very generously offered up a full kit of Pin Stadium lights. So it's a few $100 value, and you can get this. So I was like, I listen to a lot of pinball podcasts, and folks like to do competitions and things like that. And it's like, what are we gonna do? You don't want to do something that's like too hard because then people don't enter. Like make a video or whatever. Like people aren't going to do that. And you also don't want to make it too easy or like the time, like the first person to do this gets it. I don't want to do that either. I want a lot of people to have a chance of getting this. So what we're going to do is I want you to take a picture of the game you would install the Pin Stadium kit on, and preferably tweet it out if you're on Twitter and use hashtag PSBuffalo, as in Pin Stadium Buffalo. And we'll track entries that way. Or if you're not on Twitter or you want to be shy, antisocial, that's appreciated too. You can email it to talkpinball@gmail.com with the subject line contest.
All right. So a lot of people probably will take advantage of that. Talkpinball@gmail.com, subject line contest. Just send it to us that way. You need a picture of the game.
With picture of the game, and preferably as dark as possible, like the darkest game you could find. We want to see really dark games, and then show the after with the amazing Pin Stadium lights.
That'd be
on
cool.
It. So
yeah. Pin Stadium's awesome. I'm sold on it. Anytime like when a new product comes out, I'm like, it's this and that. It's night and day. It literally is. And the unfortunate thing is now that I have it on one of my machines, the other ones look like they desperately need it. So I'll probably have to make that happen. But yeah, you guys are going to love it. So make sure to enter.
Yeah. So again, there's some questions in the chat. So we're not doing Instagram. We're just going to do Twitter. Otherwise, it gets too crazy to try and keep track of everything.
Right.
So just do Twitter, hashtag PSBuffalo, or email to talkpinball@gmail.com with the subject line contest. So thank you, Pin Stadium, and Wildcats says Nick's going to enter his own.
Yeah. Is there any rule against that?
Yeah, I don't think he didn't lay anything down. So
All right.
start taking some pictures. All right. And we'll let everybody know who the winner is on the next podcast next month.
That's fun. Get a month.
So you got a month to get some dark pinball machine pictures.
Yep.
All right. All right. So one of the big things we did over this past month was we went to the IFPA World Championships, number 15.
Yeah.
At Adam Becker's amazing Press Start Arcade, just north of Toronto in Canada. So let's talk a little bit about the experience itself. I'd never been to an IFPA championship. Had you?
No.
Not even as like an attendee or a...
Yeah, it's around the world. So, the chances of that just being close enough to go to or attend or anything like that is slim. And a lot of times they're at private places too. Unique kind of private places to have that event at. So, yeah, this is our first time there.
Yeah, I think it was in some place in Europe last year, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I remember watching some of the stream with some of the guys doing commentary and stuff. So it was fun.
Yeah, I just remember like years ago, like Tom McCulloch had it at his house, which is
it's
awesome.
It's amazing. So yeah, it was. So the format, from what I understand, we got there after the qualifying period, but and we talked about this on the last show, so we don't have to go super in depth with it. But the format was, there was like a match play portion of it, and that determined the qualifiers, and then it broke into like head-to-head matches and that's when what was going on when we showed up. But it was like the first two. There was like a best of 6, and then if it was 3-3 at the end, then you played a best of 3 final man standing win. So it was a really neat format. Lots of long games. We got to see a lot of arena. People liked picking that game a lot. So I had never
who knew?
played it before, but it kept getting picked.
It's funny. I mean, how many games did he have there, Kev?
Like 60.
He had like 60 games there.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Some of them kept on getting picked over and over again. And I guess some people get used to them and they get comfortable in them. They do that, but. Of all 60 games, arena.
I know.
Who knew?
We must have streamed it like
Such a weird
6 times.
game.
It was weird, yeah.
This like so much relies on that skill shot in that game, and it's amazing how well the competitors were just like dialed in on that skill shot.
Yeah.
Because I played it afterwards, and I couldn't get the hang of it after several plunges. So
Yeah, it had to like do this like loop around and go in one specific hole. It was crazy.
it's kind of an interesting game.
Yeah, I'd like to play. I actually never even played it while we were there, but someday. So to show who the final 4 were. So 4th place was Adam Becker, the host of the event. So that was amazing. Trent Augustine was 3rd. Daniele Acciari from Italy was 2nd, and Raymond Davidson took 1st place. He's back-to-back IFPA World Champion.
Congrats to him, man. That's impressive.
That is no small feat itself.
Yeah.
So the just kind of what struck me about the whole event was, here's Adam, who had spent literally years building this facility to host this event, and what it must have been like for him to finally see it come to fruition. I'm sure he was kind of losing his mind running the event and playing in it too. Like we've done that where it's like you're trying to be the host and run the event and be an official and and keep the games running. But he did an amazing job.
He did a really impressive job, all things considered, with that level of pressure. And you had players from around the world there, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And his wife did a fantastic job of Denise did a great job of providing food and just taking care of people.
Yeah,
it was a very well run event.
And they had the most amazing toilet setup for any tournament that I've ever
seriously.
been to either.
Bears. You're like, why are they talking about toilets? This is what this podcast has gone to, but
That's right.
yeah, it's impressive.
It's gone straight to the toilet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great time. It was great. Like you said, the players from all over the world. That's what really makes this a unique event.
Yeah.
So it's not just the typical folks we see here in the States at the big events. It's people from around the world, folks you never heard of before, players that are, rapidly rising through the IFPA ranks and maybe just can't make it out because it's not practical to come out to a bunch of tournaments. So really, really great event. Thank you to Adam for asking us to come out and stream the tournament and for being a gracious host.
Yeah, very much so.
So to that end, let's talk a little bit about, it kind of inspired me. I wanted to talk about the logistics and like what goes into streaming tournament pinball, because we were there, we were doing it. We've done a number of pinball tournament streams, but and there's all sorts of different levels of pinball tournament streaming. And I think over the past few years, it really kind of took off when Papa did their big Kickstarter. They raised almost $60,000 to buy their rig, and that's when you really saw tournament streaming take off.
And this was what, like 2012?
2013, something like that.
2013. Papa had a Kickstarter because there wasn't really live tournament coverage.
They had been doing tutorials for a long time, and they did a few experimental streams, but they really wanted to start doing it themselves.
And they had a very successful Kickstarter, like, as Kevin mentioned, almost 60,000, and they reached their goal. I think it might have been even lower, like 25,000 or something like that. I mean, they reached it in 24 hours because there was such a demand for pinball streaming, and people wanted to see tournaments, which is awesome. So that I'm just gonna provide some context about $60,000. This is 2012, 2013, around then.
Yeah. So and Papa had been doing the tutorials for a long time, so they really set up themselves to be successful at this. They did a great job with their Kickstarter. But the thing, you can still go back and look at the Kickstarter, the archived fundraiser. All that money came from like 300 people. So it's not like it wasn't like a mass amount of people doing this. It was just like really core, passionate people who wanted to make this happen.
It makes sense. I mean, that number's definitely grown, right? Because of streaming pinball and because of, streamers getting more people into the hobby. So I'm sure if they did a Kickstarter again today, they'd probably be even more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, Papa can't go to every event. And, so it's like you got to kind of work with what you have.
Because the people in Papa, they're all volunteers. Nobody's getting paid to stream pinball.
Right. And the complexity of their rig it doesn't fit every format. Like Papa could not have covered the IFPA championship. They do not have 60 camera rigs to set up on every game in his thing. And that's, their rig works well for a tournament that's set up in a structure of like a bank, a pump and dump kind of tournament.
Right. I mean, I'll put this in context. So the Papa folks came up last summer and they streamed the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open. They brought their amazing rig. Mm-hmm. They set up cameras on the 10 machines from the main bank. Mike Primo came down from Toronto and helped with the production work. But what you guys don't see and what's on the back end with that rig is that they take up a lot of real estate in the venue just to set that up. And how long were they setting up? They came down Thursday night and they weren't ready until
Sunday.
They were still setting up. I think they finally, so from Thursday night, they were still setting up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like just working out issues, working out the kinks.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even ready they couldn't stream the
qualifying.
They couldn't stream the qualifying because there's so much going on with that rig and setup. They also couldn't stream the classics. So we had to use kind of our makeshift tiny hobbyist rig and we streamed the classics because we were nimble to do that. So there is a cost even to how awesome that is. Now, the final product that you guys got to see on Sunday, you can go watch it on YouTube from the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open, is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, for considering it's volunteers, it's money that they had to raise. None of them are getting paid for that other than to cover costs, right? Like, it's good quality.
Yep. And then you have Mike coming in and bringing his instant replay and like the next level of broadcast capabilities.
That's probably the quintessential. I mean, that's got to be like one of the best stream pinball competition streams, if not the best. That's sort of where the bar is set right now.
Right.
Okay.
So
and it took years to get even there.
Yeah. So, we're up there and we're kind of, some of the challenges that we faced going up to an event like this, we've done tournaments, like we streamed the first Summer Open ourselves. But that was, we had 3 Logitech cams on stands that were pointed down at a pinball machine and we would move them around. For qualifying, we just left them on the 3 games. We switched them the 2 nights. But then, it's a matter of like moving cameras between games and things like that. Here, when we're going to an unknown facility that's miles away with questionable internet and, a room full of people to work around, it adds this whole other layer of challenge. So it's not just a matter of going in and setting up a bunch of cameras and waving the magic wand and having it all work, because we would either have to take a week off of work and go there and invest $50,000 of our own money to buy all these cameras and things like that, or we can work with what we have and do the best kind of stream that we have. So that's what we do. That's what we have. And Adam and the IFPA guys, they were fully aware of what our capabilities were. They were very, very excited and happy with the end product.
Well, in some ways, I mean, you have to, with Adam's setup and the way his place is with 60 machines in there, I mean, we had like, I don't know, how would you, like where we set up our booth, it was like we 4 foot, 5 foot table at best, right? But like the fact that we had that one rig, that one camera being able to move around, there was the benefit in many ways because we had to be nimble. With 60 games, we don't know what the competitors are going to pick. So they can pick any game in that place.
Yep.
So you obviously can't set up cameras on every game. You have to have a rig that's mobile because they're not going to wait. If you're like, hold on, guys, you need to wait a half an hour, we set the camera back up. They're like, screw you, we just want to play pinball.
Yeah.
So you have to do it in a way that's so unobtrusive because at the end of the day, this is the World Championships, and the most important thing is that the tournament runs smoothly and it's a fair competition. And that is the priority with that.
Absolutely. You're not interrupting the players. You're not, because sometimes we needed to get into our game, but there was somebody playing the game next to it, so we had to wait. So there's like all these different levels of consideration you have to take. And it's finding people to do commentary, which we were lucky enough to get amazing commentators. And, that's the big plus side of doing an event, right? That it is like you have all these people who know all the rules and are really good at it.
And that's the other thing. I mean, sometimes people will, they'll like one commentator, not like the other commentator, and like you ask 10 different people, you're gonna get 10 different answers. So what Kevin and I try to do is Kevin and I are not the best pinball commentators. We can get the job done. You like that?
Yeah, you did.
And then but we try to rotate different personalities in and get them on the mic. So you don't have somebody sitting there all day. If you hate the person, can't stand it, don't worry. 2 hours later, somebody else is going to be on the mic. So we try that as well, and that's also an opportunity to hear different perspectives on how to tackle a game, and I think it makes it really interesting. So we were fortunate to have some great commentators with us on that Sunday. By the way, I'd highly encourage you guys, if you don't know what we're talking about or curious as to what we're talking about, you can go on our YouTube channel and you can check out the IFPA World Championships, and you can see some of that coverage. And here's the thing. I know sometimes people, they gloss over when they hear about tournament talk, and this is when they tune out of podcasts because they're just a collector. We all love pinball. We all play pinball. And I can't imagine there's somebody out there who doesn't, at some level, want to get better at pinball. And a perfect way to get better at pinball is to watch the best players in the world play pinball. And there's probably no better video on our channel than going to see the IFPA World Championships and watching some of this high-level play. So by all means, check it out. And I'm certainly proud of the quality that we were able to do with the setup we have. And it actually looks better on the YouTube than it does on the stream because we were fighting Adam's bandwidth. He had a bandwidth issue. We knew that going in there because he lives out in the middle of nowhere. And it's Canada. They're like 10 years behind normal time. You got to bear with them.
But yeah, we were able to record locally in a higher quality, full 60 frames per second, 720p. And we were, and we said, do you want us to do this live or do you want us just to record it? And they wanted us to record it, to do it live. And I don't blame them because if you have players coming in from around the world who are going to be playing in this tournament, their friends and family back home want updates and they want to hopefully be able to see them play. I mean, we can only follow one group around at a time or show one game at a time, but it helps, bring that atmosphere. It helps communicate across the world what these players are doing.
Yeah. By the way, we had, on Sunday, we had 400 concurrent viewers, which is more than we had at the Buffalo Pinball Summer Open. It's more than a lot of tournaments that I've seen. So that's some of the highest numbers I've seen watching a live tournament. So obviously there was a demand there. People were sticking through and watching it, and we got nothing but positive stuff. We just wanted to go over some of the issues that were present if you were watching, and why isn't this video the best quality in the world? Well, those are some of the issues and the joys of streaming live pinball.
Yeah, and some of the challenges because when you're at home as a viewer, you probably don't even think about all the things that go into streaming a pinball tournament. But the other thing you'll notice is there was a lot of glare on the glass, and lighting is a huge issue. When I stream a pinball machine here, I spend a half hour setting up the lighting so it looks good and the stream is right and there's no glare. And the other day I took lights out of my track lighting because they were putting too much glare on the Revenge from Mars before I streamed it. It's like Nick said, this is a tournament. We have to go with what's there. So anybody who's streaming a tournament has to kind of, just work with what's there and make the best of what's there. So I had a light. I put it on when I could, but, his ceiling was super reflective. There was not Invisiglass on every game because that's ridiculous. Yeah. And there's just, it's like, oh, glare. Yeah, I know there's glare, unfortunately, but you can still see the ball. You can see what's going on. So
yeah, exactly.
There's just, you can't spend an hour setting up every game for the perfect studio stream situation. Yeah,
sometimes I don't know what people expect versus the reality, but Kevin and I, we weren't paid to do this. We gave up a weekend of our time. IFPA were nice and they covered our hotel. That's it. And then the rest we were able to use from donations to kind of just cover costs of food, gas. I took a vacation day on Monday just to rest because I was exhausted. Kevin got sick and he was off on that Monday. So it's a passion project. And I think the other point is everybody wants to see, the best quality coverage of any pinball tournament, right? I want to see it. Kevin wants to see it. No doubt in my mind. I yearn for the day where the IFPA is not reaching out to Kevin and I to cover the World Championships, but they have this professional, amazing setup. However, with that said, pinball is a niche hobby. And even if you had the best production quality in the world covering the Pinball World Championships, that's not going to move the number of viewers from 400 concurrently to like thousands. I mean, it might not even double it because you still have to have the medium to get it out there and to get people interested in it. You need a channel to broadcast on, or front page time on Twitch, which is not free, and it just doesn't happen. So you got to, how is that information going to get out there? There's a lot of challenges. The IFPA doesn't have a budget really to work with. You know, when they charged $1 per player per tournament, some people went nuts over that, and that was just to add to the prize pools. So if you want to see higher production quality, where's that money going to come from? Are you guys okay with the IFPA charging $10 per player per tournament, or a fee per year? You know, maybe that would help boost it, but even then, it's just incredibly expensive, and I think we all should be grateful for what we have right now. Pinball's pinball, man. It's maybe one day we'll get a huge sponsor, and we'll grow over time, but until something like that happens, this is what we got. But I think that Josh Sharp, I have a lot of confidence in him. He's working to he's got a model to grow it and get attention. Now that I was talking to him a little bit, now that, you know, the Stern circuit's in place, right? He's saying that Stern is in much better position to go to a potential sponsor and get sponsors for pinball versus the IFPA. I mean, what is the IFPA? Okay, so the Stern Circuit is a sponsor, and they're a major pinball manufacturer. They'll take that phone call and have that meeting, right? So there's building blocks, folks. We all want it to be at a certain level, but we need to be realistic as to where we're at. So,
and I see there's some questions and comments in chat that I want to get to, and we'll have a little Q&A time here. But there's one more point I want to make too about the niche hobby that we have. It's like, think about the level of knowledge that either the commentator needs to have or the player needs to have to understand what's going on in any given pinball machine. It's like, I've been playing pinball for 5, 6, 7 years now.
Yeah.
And there's still a whole bunch of pinball machines I have no idea how to play or what the player might be trying to achieve. Even games that I'm familiar with, I don't know the intricacies of to the level of these high quality players. So to find a professional broadcaster who could do that and do it effectively, I would say it's impossible.
So what Osric says is, I may reach out to ESPN. That's not how it works. As far as I know, you need to get a sponsor. You need to have this tournament be worth like $1 million for advertising revenue. ESPN's only going to send the production crews and cameras out if there's advertising to be made, and trying to sell advertising spots for pinball. So there's a lot of foundational work that needs to be put in place. I'm pretty sure. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that, you know.
Well, and that's
you gotta have sponsors. You gotta have that.
And Osric makes the point I've seen a number of times that ESPN does like cornhole and belly flop tourneys.
But everybody knows cornhole. I mean, cornhole.
It's simple to understand.
Yeah, exactly. It's simple. That's the thing. And
darts, throw the dart at the board.
I've got to imagine more people have played cornhole than pinball.
Right.
It's just got to be.
It's the accessibility thing we talked about with video games. You know, there's 100,000 people watching Ninja play Fortnite on Twitch because everybody can play that game. It's free for everybody to play.
Free.
He's entertaining to watch, and it's just accessible. If I want to jump in there and do what he's doing.
What are the biggest games on Twitch? Fortnite, it's free. League of Legends, it's free.
Yep.
There's a common denominator. If these are $60 games that you pay for, they're not the biggest ones on Twitch because there's a barrier of entry to it. And pinball has a way bigger barrier of entry than a $6 video game. So that's what you're dealing with. It has a way bigger barrier of entry than cornhole. I agree. I get it. It has a way bigger barrier of entry than card games or poker. Again, poker, you know, we were surprised to see that 10, 13 years ago. But it made sense because most people understand it. And even people who are curious can go out and buy a deck of cards and play with their friends. Pinball's got a lot of barriers of entry. Here's a funny story that Nick Kaiser was telling me.
Okay.
He was up in Toronto. I think Joe C was there, and he saw somebody try to play pinball by pushing the coin eject returns, thinking they're the flippers. Okay, if you go in public and watch people play pinball, they have no fucking clue what's going on. I am serious.
Yeah,
they don't know how to start a game. They don't know what to hit. This guy was playing the coin rejects. Nick Kaiser also told me another story, so he's getting a lot of press. He was making the knocker go off on Getaway because he was doing well. And the bartender came over and yelled at him for saying he's breaking the machine. And he tried to calmly tell her and explain to her that that's not the case, and she did not believe him.
They're like running him out of there for playing pinball well.
Yeah. Now think of cornhole. No one's going to make that mistake. It's a challenge. So you need to figure out how to get more people into pinball, which is another discussion. We'll have a discussion one day on the podcast of how to get more people into pinball, because that is the challenge for everybody.
Yeah.
I think, long story short, it's a lot of It's kind of a grassroots effort. It's inviting people. It's mentoring one-on-one. But that's not going to explode like Fortnite. It just isn't.
So a point Wax made earlier was that they need to pick a venue for Worlds that isn't covered in glass or they block the light in the daytime. It's ridiculous. Well, like I said earlier, Adam spent his own money, his own time, his own effort building this facility to host this event. There is not a venue that exists for pinball streaming, or to host world championships.
Yeah. Wax, where do you think the money's going to come from when they pick it? Do you understand? Like, pinballs are indoors, and the ones on location, the glass, like that. What is it? Glass. Invisiglass is $300 a sheet.
Yeah.
So who's going to supply that? Right. Like, there's a lot of challenges. Now, some collectors who are rich, they might have these games, but are they going to invite all these players from around the world into their home? There's a lot of challenges to it. So number one is the money issue. You need to have money to fund a venue where you're going to have these machines with all the Invisiglass. I think from the tournament standpoint and the player standpoint in the World Championships, they got to play on 60 different machines. And I think that's where the IFPA is focused right now, is providing a tournament for the best players in the world. You can have a tournament where you just pick 10 machines potentially. I don't even know how that would work. That'd be a challenge because there's 60 some players, right?
Right.
So maybe even 10 machines doesn't work. But if you had 10 machines, then you can set up 10 cameras and you can have maybe enough Invisiglass, which is $3,000 of Invisiglass. Do you see where the challenge is coming in here?
Or Pin Stadium lights.
Pin Stadium lights. Pin Stadium lights on 60 games is still
it's crazy. It's the same investment either way, but
let alone installing it.
Yeah.
So I don't. There's not an easy answer, and a lot of kind of armchair people say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
But
there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, pinball as it is, and especially tournament pinball, is built on the backs of volunteers. I said this in a post I put up on our Discord and on Facebook. So without people volunteering their time, their money, their effort, their skills, their expertise, none of this is going to happen at all. Like, Adam builds a facility and has everybody over. His main focus, and rightly so, is on running an amazing tournament, having all of his games in great shape and running well. The stream, he wanted us to come out and stream it, so we streamed it. So from the IFPA's perspective, at least at this point, what they're capable of and what they're going to put their time and money and effort into is making sure the tournament is awesome. And then we're going to stream it to as many people as they want to watch with the money we have, the $1,500 rig that we have, because that's what's possible right now.
Yeah.
In the future, hopefully we can bring it to the next level, but is the audience there to really justify it?
And it's also the IFPA World Championship. So this is just one tournament. Okay. I mean, IFPA World Championships is a big deal. But if you want better venue and better production qualities, then the IFPA needs to make money, and they don't make money. That's the thing. Adam Becker is volunteering to enter scores for free. Josh Sharp doesn't make money. So when the IFPA even enters $1 per player, which is a joke per tournament, people lose their mind. So just consider that.
Yep. All right. So Finn's wanted to know, how do you guys decide what tables to film during the IFPA? That was an interesting question.
Yeah, how do we do that? Well, some were influenced. Some like Josh, I want you to follow this group, right? Josh was actually like, please follow them.
Yeah, well, because Daniele had been undefeated.
Yeah, so
going into the second day.
We started with him on Sunday because he was undefeated, so that made sense, right? We want to show Daniele.
And then after that, it was like, when a round would end, it would be, can we jump in on somebody else's game who isn't done yet and follow that to the end before the next round starts? And then we'll try to pick it up with the folks who we had been following, unless everybody got knocked out into the next round.
There's a flow to it, right? It made sense to follow Daniele and then follow who or what's available or what's happening.
And it gets easy when you get down to the top four or top
that's
eight.
That's actually the easy part, figuring out who to follow.
Yep. So let's see. I know there's another question I want to mention. Maybe not. Okay, I think that was it. Oh, we got Adam in the chat now. All right, so I think we kind of covered it. I guess the point I would make to kind of close this out is, like, if the IFPA and pinball streaming in general had the money to afford an ESPN 8 quality broadcast, they would not have Nick and me with our $1,500 laptop and camera rig there running around between the games to set it up. It's just not feasible right now. I hope someday it's not. I hope someday it is, that we can really bring it to the next level. But it is what it is for now. So we're going to make it the best we can. Anytime we get invited out, Nick and I always try to improve things. How can we improve things for the next time? And that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Right?
As M says, the IFPA is willing to accept donations.
Boom.
So for everybody who wants to make this happen,
send the money
Kickstarter, work on it. But I think you need to find sponsors. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, sponsorship.
You need sponsorship. And I don't know if the IFPA is even interested. I don't think the IFPA can garner sponsorship, but it needs to come from Stern.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it gets there one day.
All right. I think we've beaten that into the ground.
All right, good. Let's move on.
All right.
Let's beat something else into the ground.
Is
it Houdini time?
It is. Where the hell's my review video?
You guys.
Here we go. All right, ready?
Let's do it.
And like butter.
Let's go.
I am okay. Looks like this war, the least I've gotten waiting for. Are you ready for your eye exam?
All right, tonight we are reviewing Houdini, Master of Mystery. This is a relatively new release. It's from a brand new pinball company, American Pinball, released in they squeaked this in right at the end. They promised to deliver it by the end of 2017, and they did. They shipped a couple games right at the end of last year. So it's currently in production at a cost of $7,000. The game design is by Joe Balser. You know him from games like The Wizard of Oz and The Hobbit, and let's see what else. He's done Simpsons Pinball Party and a ton of other games, but he's been in the game a long time. One thing about his games, they're all kind of unique. He doesn't have a real style, I would say. But also, artwork is by Jeff Bush. And so the game itself has a pretty unique look, too. But let's get into it. So let's start with the art, since we're talking about artwork. And you're looking at the translate right now. The translate's cool because it kind of wraps around the LED screen, and it kind of all blends in and looks really nice. I'll run through some of the photos here so folks who are watching.
So I'm going to give a caveat. I'm going to give a caveat. You've played this game more than I have because you did a bro show on it.
I did, yeah.
This is a game that when I do a review, I try to spend a considerable amount of time on a game. This is a game I have not spent a considerable amount of time on it, but I feel comfortable giving it a numerical rating. But some of the things like, the specific art, sound, toys, whatever, I might be a little lacking. So you'll take the lead.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
fair enough.
But believe me, I have a firm rating on this game.
I knew you did, though.
I've definitely played it enough, and there was demand for us to review this game, and rightfully so.
All right. So artwork. Let's show some more pictures, photos. There we go. Bam. So this is the. Let's go back to the cabinet. So the cabinet has a kind of unique design. I didn't really like it when I first saw it, but it's grown on me. I dig it. It stands out in a lineup, so I can appreciate it for that. But it's got more of a realistic art style, and I've said before that I prefer more of a line art kind of hand drawn style that like a Zombie Yeti or Dirty Donnie brings, versus this strikes me more of like a Christopher Franchi style where it's more realistic looking, and it's personal preference. Art is subjective, but I tend to prefer the other styles. But this looks good, and a lot of folks will say that this is one of the most beautiful games they've ever seen. It's got a lot on the play field. Certainly, it's very colorful and it's got kind of a steampunk feel to it.
I like that about it.
Yeah, lots of gears. It's got the chains on the pop bumpers, which are cool.
It's got this gold kind of quality to it,
Yeah, it's definitely of the era. It's appropriately themed for the era that Houdini would be in, I think. There's the trunk. We'll talk about that later. There's the chains on the pop bumpers. It's kind of a minor touch, but it really works when it gets into the pop bumpers and they shake around. I like that effect a lot.
Yeah, it's cool. It looks, this game, when you kind of see it in a collection and stand up to it, it looks like quality. And I think when the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, this looks like a legit pinball machine, because this is their first game. You don't know what to expect, but it looks like quality.
Yeah.
Kind of like the first impression of the game that when you see it. Now, there in the art, there's that Houdini head. I don't like the fact that he's got like LEDs in his eyes. It looks kind of weird because they're like always purple or weird colors. I don't know.
It's creepy. It creeps me out.
Yeah, I maybe have an idea of what they're trying to go for, but it's just weird to put LEDs in somebody's eyes like that, like on the artwork. It just doesn't. It doesn't work.
It's so front and
That's the
center
way I
too
would
that it's very distracting for me.
Yeah, I think that kind of, it's hard not to be overwhelmed by that. Like, I can't think of anything else in the art but that. So I'm not a huge fan of the artwork on the playfield.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, if it wasn't so front and center and like right in your face, when I think of Houdini, I think of the guy on the playfield with his glowing eyes. So
No, just get rid of at least the glowing eyes.
yeah, but maybe if you own it, you can just like cover up the inserts or something, and you'd be. I don't. Do they indicate anything? Is it like a?
I
Is
don't.
it
That
of
I
any
don't know.
significance? I don't know either. If not, then I would just like cover them up or something.
Yeah, that's true. They say you could take it out, but it's just weird.
All right. So art, it's pretty good, except for the eyeballs.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
That's more of a lighting thing, really. But sound. So the sound. I don't know if you really were able to hear the sound because when you were playing it, you had to turn the stream
this
down.
is where it's gonna be more Kevin because I couldn't really hear the sound well. I had to have it turned down.
Yeah, so I've heard interviews with Josh from American Pinball, and he talks about how they had. So there's very few like recordings of Houdini out there, but the few that they had a voice actor like study the voice and try to mimic it, and so they I think they do a pretty cool job of that. And I like that there's humor in it. There's he'll if he misses a skill shot, he kind of talks trash a little bit, and there's some of that playful humor in it, which I like. There's some interesting sound choices because there's some parts of the music that sound like almost like techno-ish, which I wouldn't expect from a game from this era. But I guess I also wouldn't want like player piano music the whole time either, you know? So I guess what do you do? Maybe they're trying to go for more of a steampunk vibe than a historical accuracy in that sense. Maybe. I don't know. The other thing that really stands out is the giggling girls. I don't know if you watched any of the stream at all.
No, I didn't hear that.
So on the slingshots, let me see if I got a photo of this. There's two ladies on the slingshots.
Yeah.
And when the ball hits the slingshots, it makes a giggling sound. So every time, and of course Jeff was with me, the master of pinball machine sound effects. So he was mimicking the giggling girls the whole time. So
Yeah.
that's all I could hear of the game when.
Is it
we were
annoying?
playing. Yeah. Well, once somebody points it out, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's enough.
It's okay.
So there's some pluses, some minuses to the sounds. I would say it's kind of average, but above average, a little above average in the sound department.
Yeah, I really want to. I wish I could hear the sound in this game because sound's incredibly important to me in a pinball machine. So, sorry, I can't comment on that.
Yeah. All right. With toys, we can talk about. You can talk about toys with me too. So
Yeah.
let's get into those. So there's a couple major toys on the game. The theater or the stage they call it. Where that's where you kind of
It's a
start all
mode
your
start,
modes.
right?
Yeah, you bash that to open it, and then you can either try to kind of ricochet it in there off of the pop bumpers, or hit it through one of the little loop around shots to get it into the stage. It's cool. It's got the screen on top, which makes sense, and the kind of drapes that open up. Very cool. Mac very well integrated with the theme. I like that. Kind of the star of the show though is the chest for locking balls. So there's probably like 3/4 of the way down the playfield, there's an arm that launches the ball through the air. This top of this chest opens up, and the ball lands in there. It's kind of like a long distance version of the Jack in the Box, the Jackie thing from Aerosmith. But the accuracy of it was really good. Like I know James does a really good job of dialing in his games, and we'll talk about that later. Kind of some of the things he did to this game to get it playing as well as it did. But he had that hitting 100% of the time, and it's a great trick. And I think every pinball machine needs a great trick like that.
I agree.
And it took me back to like, I know I bring up Addams Family and the trick every time we talk about toys, but when the hand comes out of the box and grabs the ball, everybody goes wow, and it's same kind of effect here.
So you know what? When I played it, I was sort of underwhelmed by that, which I shouldn't have been when you think about it. But I just remember it's sort of off to the side and to the left. So the catapult's like to the far left, like more towards the player, and the trunk is all the way in the back corner. And I just remember playing it. There wasn't like this moment where you're just really focused on that trick happening. It kind of happens really fast. Did you notice that as well?
Yeah, but the other thing I've heard is like people complaining about it takes too long because once you've seen
it a
it,
million times,
you need to lock every ball that way.
Yeah, I almost
kinda
think
gets
like
old.
if they like, I don't want to don't want to draw it out either. I know what you're saying. I mean, like, you can make the same argument about the Addams Family hand, right?
Yeah.
That takes longer to do than that trick, I think.
Yeah.
But like, it is kind of cool. They almost should like dim the playfield lights and put a spotlight on it because it's a magic trick or something like that. There's no at least in my impression, the few times I played it, there wasn't like highlighting that. Like, I think the ball flying on Aerosmith, it's less of a distance. It's sort of less impressive, but because that trunk is so big and prominent that you see it go in there and slam shut on it, it really reinforces what just happened. Whereas like this, in my mind, you can almost miss it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the choreography it needs.
That's what it needs. It needs the choreography to highlight what cool thing is happening on it.
Yep.
Because that should be cooler than Aerosmith, but because of kind of the presentation on it, it wasn't to me.
I could see like a casual player not even noticing.
Yes, that's exactly the point. Like, I was purposely like waiting and watching for it, and it struck me like, oh my god, I barely noticed it, and I was looking for it. The casual player would never even see that.
Yep. Yeah, because obviously
that's the toy, man.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing. So that's a great toy. Maybe a little bit of presentation around it to really make it shine. But I'm just amazed that it works at all. That you can take a ball,
that's cool,
on the side of the playfield and whip it up the side of the playfield and have it hit that trunk.
I mean, that's brilliant.
It's amazing. So good on them. I think that's pretty much all the toys.
And they could fix that in code and make the presentation better. That's something I doubt they would, but I mean, they could, and I think they totally need to highlight that, especially for location, the casual player, because that's the hook. You want to be like, oh my god, did you just see what that did? I want to do that again. How can I do it?
And it's not easy to get it going either, so when you do it, you want it to feel like, holy crap, I did it. So, and we'll get into the gameplay and stuff too. So but before that, let's talk about the DMD, or the display and lighting. So what was your takeaway on that?
I mean, I like how the so it's got a video screen, an LCD screen in the back, like all modern games have these days. And I like how the LCD screen is incorporated with the theme of the game, because it's like curtains are closing on it and opening. That's part of like the screen. So you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I'm watching. The screen is the stage that I'm watching. Here's the problem. The animations are absolutely horrid. I mean, just so bad. I mean, these are the worst animations of any pinball machine I've seen in the modern times. I can't overstate that enough, and it's just kind of jarring at points. And it also looks like they had two different styles. Like, there's not a cohesive style in the art presentation of the DMD. I don't get it. It's really bad. It doesn't fit. The rest of the machine looks quality, but that doesn't fit it. Yeah,
I agree. The explanation I heard on the animations, and I'm not making excuses, but the reasoning behind the animations are the way they are because they put the time and effort into the animations where the player is able to stop and look up. So you'll notice, like, when the ball's being held and you look up, you'll see the higher quality animations. And when the game's just kind of like, when you're in the middle of play and it's presenting some information, then it's just throwing up the lower quality ones. So not that that's an excuse or is it acceptable, but that was the reasoning behind it. And maybe it's a factor of it being a small team, a new company, and they don't have the assets and the resources to put into a full-time animator the way Jersey Jack can with Dialed In or a Hobbit, or, you know, those, to me, I always bring those up too, because those are like the top level ones, right? And then you got Stern somewhere in the middle with the DVD menus lay as our chat room.
I was enjoying, what's that? Joe, how do you say his name?
Jabaruji.
Jabaruji says, yeah, the animations look like they are from Microsoft PowerPoint for Windows XP. I keep on waiting for that little paperclip guy to pop up on there. That's like the level of animations.
It looks like you're looking for help with your pinball machine.
Yeah. It's too bad because, again, there's like a disconnect from the rest of the machine. It's not one solid fluid presentation, right? That's jarring compared to the kind of the rest of it.
Yeah, and the other thing and it ties into the animations and also some of the sound, is the verbosity of the game. When you start a mode and it says, it gives you the life history of Houdini and all the shots you got to hit in the mode up front. It's like, and yeah, I know those are adjustments you can make in the menus and things like that, but if people play this on location, they're going to play it at the default settings most likely, and it's going to be like that. And, you know, maybe skilled players know to double flip to skip. I don't know if that's on by default or if you have to turn that on, but yeah, it's different. I don't know if it's necessarily good. Personally, I think it's too much. Like, I want to just get back into playing pinball.
Yeah, I heard Josh Sharp was on the Head to Head Pinball podcast, which, by the way, check out. That's a great episode by them. Highly recommend that. But Josh was on there and he was talking about Houdini, and he was talking about like the call outs in the game, and the call outs are like shoot this and shoot that. Like it's, his point was like it's just too much. Like I think he was saying it takes him out of like this world under glass and this theme versus like I'm just kind of mechanically going through this and shooting targets in a pinball machine, right? Like you lose the theme or you lose the world because it's too verbose.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I know Kevin likes it, and I like games where it kind of tells you what to go for. Mm-hmm. I think Dialed In is good at that without being too much. Mm-hmm. And I think Houdini just oversteps a little too much, which is too bad. And I know what they're trying to go for because pinball's confusing, and half the time you don't know what to shoot for.
Right.
So having the game tell you can be a plus. But I also get Josh Sharp's point where it's a fine balance between just having the machine constantly talk at you and tell you what to shoot, and just trying to get lost in the theme without having it kind of interrupt you.
Right. All right. So let's talk about lighting a little bit before we move on. We've been talking mostly about the display. So the lighting strikes me as like it reminds me of Wizard of Oz. Like where they're like, we have these RGB LEDs, let's turn them all on and make them do all the things all the time and make it all sorts of different color. And it doesn't really fit with the art on the playfield to me. It's like you've
What's
got
that?
the lighting and the coloring of the lighting.
Okay,
Nick totally didn't listen to anything I just said.
No, I was reading the chat.
So it's it's got that like rainbow effect going on a lot. And, and you have this playfield that's like this grungy, like steampunk kind of feel.
Yeah.
And there's a disconnect there too, I think.
There's definitely a disconnect. Like they're almost like showing off that, look, we can do all these cool LED lighting effects versus like, well, do you really need to do that on this game? Does it fit the theme? What is the theme? And then everything else should flow from there rather than like, oh, you have the technology, so we're going to rotate through these lights because, my God, pinball people like all the lights possible and all the different colors.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would like a little more, careful use of coloring and more conscious thought put into, let's make this fit the theme rather than just, show off all the colors, which is cool. If you want to do that in a track mode or whatever, that's cool. But once you get into the game, let's get down to business. You know what I mean? All right. Gameplay. Whew, this is the thing on this game, right?
That's how I can definitely put a lot of my rating behind. So I struggled. The first time I played this was back in Allentown, and I played a couple balls. I'm like, okay. And then I played it more at Pinball Expo, and I just walked away from it. The issue of B for this game is that the shots are way too damn tight. And the problem is, like, every shot is tight. It's not like this is a game where, it has like one or two tight shots. Like, let's talk about Ghostbusters. They had that one
ramp,
like the right ramp, ridiculously tight shot, and that's sort of okay on there. I don't love it, but it's sort of okay because it's just one shot in the game, right? But like Houdini is like every shot in that game is that right ramp on Ghostbusters. It's just way too much. It's not fun, man. It's not fun, and hitting a shot, you would think it would feel is really satisfying. It's more, I guess, a relief than satisfying when I finally do make a shot. The only saving grace is that with all the tight shots, of course, a lot of the shots are coming back at you. It doesn't drain too easily. I think the out lanes are sort of geared towards keeping the ball in play more so than not. It's not terribly brutal down there. So that's sort of the saving grace with the tight shots. But, man, you're going to be breaking a lot. And as somebody had said before, I guess, with the stand-up targets being so close together and narrow shots, if they start moving over a little bit, which they tend to do on location, a lot of my Stern games do that. I think every pinball machine does that. It could start making those shots even tighter and potentially blocking them. So I don't know. This design doesn't work for me. None of the shots feel satisfying for me. It's more of a relief feeling when I do hit it, and then I just sort of like walk away. The night that I played it a lot, we were doing a stream of Baywatch. All right, so while they were streaming Baywatch, I went over and played Houdini, and I couldn't wait for my turn to come back up on Baywatch because it was so much more fun to shoot on that game and to hit shots on Baywatch than it was on Houdini. I drive like almost next to no joy on that game.
So I think this is where Nick and I diverge a little bit in our thoughts on Houdini. Like, I tend to fall more into the camp of our buddy Steve Bowden, that they're tight but findable. You're going to go through the initial bricking process, you will brick a lot of shots. And you'll see this if you look at our stream of this on YouTube. Like at first I'm kind of bricking shots, but after like a game, I start to find it, and I'm hitting that super tight milk can shot, and I'm getting my multiplier ready, and then I'm backhanding the right orbit instead of trying to forehand it, or the right, yeah, it's the orbit to the left of the orbit where you put the lock shot in. And so I start hitting my shots, and I start feeling really good about it because people are talking about how tight these shots are all the time, and so to me it feels extra satisfying when you do hit them. One of the issues I had was when I started multi-ball, like, okay, I did the thing. I got the multi-ball going, but then there was almost no ball save on it. So it's like there's these super tight shots. And actually, Josh from American Pinball was in chat that night, and I hopefully he takes this into consideration. Like, just give me more ball save on the multi-ball. I spent all that time, made these tough shots, felt really good about getting there, made the trunk do the awesome thing, and then the multi-ball was over like that because it was just so crazy. And they've also built in for the noobs. They're gonna brick their way into Seance multi-ball more likely than not. So they've kind of built some of that into the design. But there's no doubt about it. The shots are tight. But I think I don't think this is a game I'd want to play on location. Having it in your home and being able to find the shots and just keep hitting start. And I think this is a game that I would enjoy. I have a Ghostbusters. I like games that are brutal. So I'm okay with games like that. So for me, I think I'd be okay with it.
I think this was kind of weird from my experience. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but it felt like the flippers themselves, like the timing was just off. Because they probably use their own proprietary flipper system or whatever.
I think they're using P-Rock.
Okay, it just didn't feel like anything else. Like when I would hit the flipper button and when it flipped, there was like a little bit of a delay compared to like a Stern or a Williams or a Jersey Jack. And I had to kind of self-adjust. So added that to the bricking shots and it was frustrating. I can't stand the delay in the flippers because no other game is like that. It's just instantaneous. So again, that was did you notice that at all when you played?
I think just any manufacturer's flippers feel slightly different because they're all using a little different mechs, a little different hardware and software to communicate with it. So there's always just a little bit different. And I think certain people I think I tend to adjust to the timing a little bit better than some other folks do. Like I had a virtual pinball cabinet, and while there was a big difference between real pinball and that, I could pretty easily adjust between the two, like timing wise, like the physics of the shots and everything aside, like okay, in my mind I need to be a little earlier on that or whatever. So maybe it's because I'm not as good of a player and I'm not as accurate with my shots. I don't notice it as much, but it doesn't bother me as much, is what I should say.
I think for me it's like I noticed instantaneously, like, so I was self-aware of what was going on, that there was a delay. And it's not the inability to adjust to it. It was more the frustration is that, man, there shouldn't be a delay in this. I should be able to hit it and it should respond just like all these other pinball machines. I think that was it. I could adjust, but it was just frustrating from the back of my mind. I don't know.
I just take it as a difference between manufacturers, and they're all going to be a little different. Williams and even Jersey Jack mechs don't feel anything like Stern mechs. Stern mechs are super fat, super strong and powerful. Jersey Jack's a little less so. Williams are on the lower end too, so it's like there's a different feel to every pinball machine manufacturer, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm able to jump from like a Jersey Jack machine to a Stern machine, and yeah, sure, there's a difference, but the timing is still there. Like I know when I hit a shot on here in Jersey Jack, it's going to go where I expect it, and Stern. This I don't know, it threw me off. It was a frustrating experience. I'm sure somebody who owns the game in their home and they played it, dozens and dozens of times, has mentally adjusted to it and just accepts it now. But going back and forth again, when I was playing Bayrosh, hit the flipper, instantaneously comes up, hit the flipper on Houdini, and there's a delay. That's a bit frustrating.
Okay, interesting. It didn't strike me as the same way it did to you. So, all right, that's the gameplay. Let's talk about the rules. Did you get a feel for the rules at all while you were playing it?
Not enough, unfortunately. So I'll let you take this away.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it for like a few hours at best. And the best thing about playing with James is he's a really good coach, and I want him to come with me. Like, I played a game of Star Wars, not to diverge from this too much, but I played a game of Star Wars with him, and he got me all hyped what I was doing on Star Wars, a game I don't particularly enjoy. So he does a really good job of explaining what you need to hit and when and why.
Okay.
So for me, it's great to have somebody like that on hand when you're playing a new game like this. But To the rules, it's like, I'm not going to do this justice. I'll say that it's a mode-based game. It has some interesting rules. There's some quirky stuff in it that new pinball manufacturers tend to try, like the reverse inverted flippers kind of stuff that is fun, and it's amazing integration with the theme because it's for like the mode where you're supposed to be in the straight jacket, right? So it makes sense for that to be like the messed up flipper mode. And the first couple of times I played it, you'll see on the stream, is that I had a great reaction to it. I was like, oh, this is really funny, this is fun. And it does cool things like it can tell if you're if you're just flipping 2 flippers all the time, it'll call you out for it and lower the value of the jackpots.
Oh,
so
really?
There's some really cool, innovative stuff in the code that I like and appreciate. It's got, like I said earlier, there's some clever call outs, like when you go into the mystery mode. I like the humor where it pulls out things of the hat and it's like Ghostbusters, and then it's like, oh, that's not it, or it's total nuclear annihilation, or things like that, or Lion Man's in there and stuff like that. So these cool like tips of the hat to people who are into the pinball community and things like that. Jokes, fun. I like that about it. The rules seem really weird. Like it doesn't seem super intuitive to me. Like I would have needed somebody to explain it to me right off the bat. It's not a real straightforward game like a Dialed In. You kind of need to play it a bunch and figure it out and do it. But again, like I said, they've also taken account for like the difficulty of the game through Seance multi-ball, so you can get that going and feel good about yourself. I think it still needs a little bit more polish, but what's there is good. It's again, above average. It's not a Lyman Sheets game, but it's fun.
Okay, I'll have to pass on rules because I just haven't played it enough to comment on it.
Yeah. All right. So last ability, we can't really talk about that much because we haven't played it that much, but I could see this game in a home collection having last ability because it's got that difficulty factor. The code seems pretty deep. It looks nice, so you wouldn't be like, this is a piece of garbage, get it out of here. It looks terrible. So yeah, I could see it lasting in a collection. Sure. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, last ability for me relies heavily on the rule set and not being knowledgeable on that. It's hard for me to comment. But we're sort of getting into the rating. I'll just say that, I mean, for me, this game is just not fun. I've tried and I've played it over and over again. It's just not a fun game. And I think I'm experienced enough in my pinball career that I know better when a game is fun. Like, I didn't have to force myself to like Iron Maiden the first time I played it. I had to force myself to like Dialed In the first time I played it, even though I didn't know exactly what was going on. It was just love the first time I played it. When I first started playing pinball, there's some games I didn't like and then I came around to. I just don't see that happening with this game. So last ability is not even there for me.
Okay, fair enough. So one thing before we move into our final rating of this, just huge shout out to American Pinball, brand new company, comes up with the design concept, brings it to manufacturer, starts delivering games. People get the game they paid for. So kudos to you guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming out for game 2. Let's jump into our website here. We can give you the score rating. So before we give you our final numerical score for the game, we'll give you the score key. From 0 to 2, you should burn it. From 3 to 5 is an expensive night late. 6 to 8 is a solid game, and from 9 to 10, it's get your wallets out. What do you think?
So for me, this game is just, it screams a 5. You know, it's not a solid game, but it's not a terrible game. I think as a first effort from a new pinball company, it's respectable. It shows a lot of promise in hopefully future machines from them that they can produce and manufacture and get a game out there. The game I played seemed to work fine. It's got a toy that is pretty impressive. I'm interested to see what's next from American Pinball, but at the end of the day, this was just not a fun experience for me playing this pinball machine, and I shouldn't have to try to force myself to like it no matter what else is going on, and I just couldn't.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, to me, this game seems like a 7. So I'm gonna put it in the 7 range. It's fun. They did a good job integrating rules. The shots are tight. There's no doubt about that. That's been talked about endlessly. But I think if you play it, you can find the shots. If you like a game that's a challenge, this is going to be a good game for you to have in your collection. If you like a more of a flow kind of smooth easily, I think I always talk about dialed in, but it's like got the ramps that are like butter. Like they're just where you expect them to be. This is not that game. This is the game where you're gonna have to sit down. You're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to find the shots. But when you do, you're gonna be able to play it well and hopefully have a good time with it. So those are our thoughts on Houdini.
Cool.
All right. So, let's get into Q&A time. So we just got a few here today. We have one email from Adrian. He says, with the popularity of video games such as the Pinball Arcade and Zen Pinball, do you think pinball video games have become an equal alternative to real pinball? What do you think?
An equal alternative to pinball. No. I mean, there's no...
It's never going to be the same.
It's never going to be the same. What makes pinball special is the physical nature of it, and it just cannot be replicated on a digital medium. It just is impossible. There are things that can be replicated more easily, like take a board game and you can put it in digital space, and the board game is not doesn't lie on the physical the physics of it unless it's a dexterity game. I mean, it loses something in that translation because there is picking up pieces and stuff. But with pinball, you just can't replicate it. Now, with that said, I think it's fantastic that Pinball Arcade and Zen Pinball have been popular and they've gotten a lot of people into pinball. And it's great for learning the rules. It's great for getting exposure to different pinball machines. So it's fantastic. If you're on an airplane and you're craving pinball, great, pull that open and play it. Or if you don't have machines in your area, that's a great opportunity to play pinball, and you can practice and even get a little bit better, to an extent. But pinball, and what makes pinball special is the fact that it's a physical game.
Yeah. Like Alan's Arcade said, video pinball helps understand the rules, but it does not replicate the real world physics of a pinball machine, and it's not going to happen in our lifetimes. All right. So the second part of his question, he says, I asked Kevin this question on Monday's stream, but do you think we'll one day see a Pinball 2000 game or something similar? So do you think Pinball 2000 style game is going to make a comeback?
I don't know. I mean, it's not something I think that format's dead. I don't know what's going to happen, in the years to come. It's kind of cool what, Jersey Jack did with Dialed In and incorporating that hologram effect on like the theater. So it's taking an idea from Pinball 2000 and using that technology a little bit, which is not like brand new technology by any way, shape, or form, but something like that, incorporating that into the machine, I think can make sense without making this bulky game with a monitor. Maybe somebody might try it. We're seeing innovation in pinball, but I think pinball's what makes it special is largely it's sort of the simplicity of it, that it hasn't changed drastically in the last, 40 years, something like that.
Yeah. And I don't think you need a display like that now. They needed that in 2000 because pinball was dying and they needed to do something to innovate to try to keep it alive at Williams. So they're like, this is our last ditch effort to keep pinball alive, keep Williams Valley pinball going. We need to do something amazing and innovative to really take it to the next level. So they threw everything they had into that system. And I remember we were talking about this on Monday that, I remember seeing these games everywhere when they came out. They sold like 8,000 or 9,000 of the Revenge from Mars. So Pinball 2000 it wasn't a failure. It was a success, but there just wasn't enough money in pinball anymore. So there's way more money in slot machines. So they make slot machines now.
Who knows what would have happened if Williams continued down that track? I don't know.
Yeah. I guess the thing about, Wizard Blocks was going to be the game from Pat Lawler. And I remember hearing this somewhere along the line that with Revenge from Mars and Star Wars, they had to really like make the screen do everything because it was new. They had to show everything that it could do. And in Wizard Blocks, they were going to kind of scale it back a little bit and just have it be part of the playfield, more integrated with traditional pinball. So it would have been interesting to see it kind of take that next step.
Yeah.
But who knows if we'll ever see it. But I don't think Pinball 2000 is coming back. I think you're going to see it integrated in little ways like the theater. It was awesome.
Or like Multimorphic, what they're doing. They're doing their own kind of take on using like digital video, and pinball. But that's more pure pinball at the same time. So I like that approach better than that necessarily. Because the Pinball 2000, the machines are smaller. Right, the playfield's a little smaller.
The playfield's the same size, but it's like more compact because the back box is like on top of the screen, and it also feels smaller because the screen is blocking.
That's a
so
standard
much
playfield.
It is.
It's the same size as like Tron or Ghostbusters.
Yep.
All right, I'm mistaken.
Because if you look at it, like a traditional pinball machine has the play field and then the thing on the back for the back box.
Yep.
That's the reason why the cabinet is shorter.
Okay.
But the play field's the same size.
Forget I said that. Moving on.
It's a common misconception though, so it's interesting it's important to point it out.
Well, it's so when I play that game, it's so dark.
There you go. We got Kiefer in the chat. Who worked on this game, so he said it's 1 inch shorter than one per WPC type game, but still longer than high speed.
Thank you.
It's longer than high speed.
No, well, I was right though. I said like Tron or Ghost. It is shorter. Thank you, Keeper. Thank you. Kevin's kind of fighting back now. Yeah. 1 inch is significant.
How much shorter is high speed? That's what I need to know.
But I knew that. I knew high speed was a little shorter too. Yeah. So it's a little shorter. But it's also.
But it's not like if you look at the difference of the cabinets, it's not like the 3 or 4 inch
right. It's not like a
difference.
child's game or something.
Yeah.
It's not like the pin from Stern. I think what also makes that game seem smaller too is like it's really dark in the back, right? So it just feels like even less real estate. All right.
See, it's Black Knight or high speed is 2 inches shorter. So
okay.
There you go. All right, moving on to Twitter. Or actually, we didn't get any tweets. So Discord. Destroyer of Worlds, Luigi wants to know, what are the best pinball machines to get introduced to pinball? What would you say was one of the best games to get introduced to pinball? So,
that's an interesting. You know what first popped into mind, and maybe because it's timely with the World Cup, but I think World Cup Soccer is a great game to introduce people to pinball too. I like the fact because like there's the shooting the goals. I think people can get that's a thing. But it's also good for the established player. I know that wasn't part of the question, but that's a cool game, and it's family friendly. It's it's not like you don't have to worry about like dark humor or is that going to be in my house or whatever. So that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was thinking something with simple rules, but you think about something like Addams Family, but that's not.
It's too much.
It's not obvious. It wasn't obvious to me as a novice player that I needed to hit the ramp to relight the chair. It took me I had to like have somebody tell me that. It's
know what I like to do when I like to teach people that there's rules in pinball? So my countdown, because I'm like, this is simple, right? Like everything's gonna like, here's your bonus that all these shots increase it. Then you hit these down, then it times the bonus and see how they're color coordinated. And that's it. Or like putting in the scoop will collect bonus. Like you can almost start off with a classic game and just explain basic rules to get people understanding, oh my God, there's rules in pinball, but you're not overwhelming them with wizard modes and multi-ball and everything like that. And then you can work your way up potentially.
Yeah. SD Pinball says TNA would be good. I can. It's similar to like your countdown. I think,
Yeah.
And it's obvious that the ball lock is there and things like that. So anything with an obvious thing to do or really kind of simple rules that you can explain in like less than 30 seconds is going to be a good game.
Yeah, Juckworks since Grand Prix and Jungle Queen. I had Grand Prix. I was thinking that too in my mind. That's easy. The old school machines, I think, can really kind of help people understand pinball. And the nice thing is they can get comfortable with it and not overwhelmed. You're like, you do this and this and this, and that's it. That's all there is to the game. Versus, oh, you want to learn how to play, Metallica? Well, you do this, and it's too much.
Forget it. Yeah.
So,
somebody said Medieval Madness. I think that's good too because you can just hit the castle and it does something awesome.
Yeah, they're gonna get that satisfaction. That's another thing. Star Wars, okay. Dude, no one is going to get the multi-ball in that game. No casual person is going to get some. What are you guys thinking? You got to give them multi-ball.
Give the people multi-ball.
Come on.
Give them multi-ball.
Or at least the castle does something cool.
Yep.
I mean, Sparky and Metallica almost takes too many shots for a lot of people, but they see it and they know
you're
they'll
like,
go
ooh,
for
if
it.
I can do that, yeah.
It's like 12 shots.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of shots.
But yeah, you got to give something cool for casual people to do on a pinball machine.
All right, second question from Destroyer of Worlds. What pins between you and Nick are the ones you would play for years to come? What are your top 3 all-time pinball machines? We kind of talk about this question a decent amount, but what could you see yourself playing a long time down the road?
I've been playing a lot of Metallica lately. I'm surprised I came back for that. I'm actually selling it to Martha, so it's staying in the collection.
That's the way to do it.
I've been playing a lot of Metallica. I come back to games. Here's the games I've been playing recently. I've been playing Metallica. I've been playing Walking Dead, and I've been playing Dialed In. Those are the 3 games that I've been playing a lot of, and I can feel like if I come home, I could play either one of those machines, and those were the first 3 I would go to out of a collection of 12 games. So, I've had Metallica now the most for, I don't know, 3-4 years, 3 years, something like that, 3-4. I've had Walking Dead for over 2 years, and I've had dialed in for a little less than a year. And I babysat it for a while. So,
Yeah.
you know, that one's the youngest one. We'll see how I feel in a couple of years, but the other ones are holding strong.
Yeah. I would probably go, Dialed In would definitely be in there. I think Adams would be in there for me because it's just fun when I play it. Like when I want to just, it's easy. Yes. Like once you know what you're doing, there's not a lot to it, but the theme integration, everything like that. So it's 2 for 2 for Pat Lawler, but I guess game number 3, I would probably want a longer playing game. I don't know, something with more of an adventure to it. I think of something like The Hobbit, where you could just get lost in it for 45 minutes and play Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. I don't have as much time, and I'm not just sucking up to Kiefer because he's in chat.
He is.
But
he's a shill for Jersey Jack. We all know Kevin is.
Yes. But I said Lord of the Rings too. But a game like
It's
that,
a Kiefer game.
yeah, it is. I said that for him. So yeah, I would want a kind of a mix of games. I think of game styles, except for the 2 that are obviously like each other because they're Pat Lawler games. All right, never mind.
I like Iron Maiden. That's like the new hotness. Like here's the interesting thing is, so like when I streamed last week, I'm like, I really want to go play Iron Maiden. Even though that is like far more work for me to like package up my like streaming rig, go down in public, set it up, and do all that. Like it's way more work, and I'm like, it's the summertime, I want to be lazy. But I really wanted to play that game. But what ended up happening is like I blew it up by like an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm spent, I'm done. That's the thing with like I like longer games, but like once I blow up a longer game, like I never want to touch it again. Whereas like a game, like a shorter playing game, like Walking Dead, it will just beat me into the ground that I'll keep on hitting start and it'd be like 2.5 hours later and I'm still trying to chase that.
I don't know.
So it's different experiences.
I don't always want to be getting my ass handed to me, I guess.
I can't like walk
It can't
away.
always be an abusive relationship. I need to have some comfort in my life.
It's got me hooked. I'm like, but I'm like, it's a different feeling, but I can play it longer because I'm like, I'm going to get it this time. No, it's like that gambling addiction, right? Like, oh, now one more time you pull that slot machine. This is the time. I know how I feel.
Oh, I get that too. But
whereas like with Maiden and like longer playing games, like Hobbit's that way too. Like after I blow the game up, I'm like, I'm good. I feel satisfied. I walk away happy though. That's the difference.
You're like, I did it.
Walking Dead, I'll go to bed like angry, which is not a good game to play before you go to bed.
Exactly. All right. Taz Tiger wants to know which childhood trauma caused my face to be like that. So I'll leave that up for the viewers to decide. So there you go. I threw that in there for him. So I think he left, but he's in Australia, so he's like
right.
living in the future. All right. That's going to bring this episode to a close. Before we wrap it up, why don't you go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. If you like what you're hearing, you can connect with us those other places. You can always email us, talkpinball@gmail.com. We let you know on every episode. If you ever have a question, you really want to get it answered on the show,
we answer.
Sometimes we miss stuff in chat because things are moving fast. We want to put together a nice, tight show for you guys. So email is the best way to get your questions answered. Also, be sure to follow and sub our Twitch channel. If you have Twitch Prime, you can subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to our channel at no extra cost. It's a great way to support us. And you can follow us on Patreon.
That's right. So we got Patreon. Some of our viewers requested it because they're maybe not on Twitch or whatever. They're just listening to the podcast. So if you want to show some support, head over to patreon.com/Buffalo Pinball. For just $1 a month, you can support this. You basically set up your information and it deducts $1 every month and you can just forget about it. That's less than, you can't even get coffee. Like maybe McDonald's coffee.
You could set it and forget it. Is that what you would say?
Set it and forget it.
And so there's a benefit. You does get the job done. There's a benefit for those who support us by through Patreon or now for Twitch subs as well. You can vote on the game we review every month. So we put this up for a vote, and the folks wanted to hear us talk about Houdini, so that's why we did Houdini.
That's right. So now not only Patreon. So again, if you're just listening to the podcast, you're probably not going to subscribe through Twitch. We get it. But if you subscribe through Twitch, now you also get to vote on the game that we review, which is important. We want to make sure that we're reviewing games that you guys are interested in hearing about. And, we'll put up 2 or 3 games that Kevin and I are certainly comfortable reviewing, which we've played over 100 at least on our stream. So we can review all of those.
We have opinions, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
We can share them with you.
Sometimes my range goes from I like the art to it gets the job done.
I'm sorry they're not totally objective all the times. If you
Kevin,
that's what we should do. We should do for our Patreon and Twitch subs. We should do an objective review for them.
Oh, like a
as
private
perk,
video?
as a perk.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, there you go.
There you go. There's more reason to subscribe and support us. So
thanks guys for watching. Thanks for supporting it. Thanks for your questions. I love seeing the chat. I get distracted. I forget what Kevin's saying at the time because the chat's so active.
Yep.
If you guys aren't watching this live, we usually do it the last week of the month, usually on a Monday. So there's a lot of usually, but we put on our social media. Come check us out live. Watch
it's so fun.
This is no editing, believe it or not. We are the best unedited podcast out there. I'm gonna say that.
We're probably the only one.
Kevin, it's impressive. It's impressive.
Twippy for unedited podcasting next year.
Some people are saying
People are saying that we're number one.
All right.
Thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.